Hi, and welcome to week 2. This week we're going to talk about ethical principles in advocacy. First, we'll take a look at the competencies and the skills that we need to be able to succeed this week. So our main competency is going to be able to demonstrate and advocate for professionalism and accountability for assessing nursing management problems. And then for the week, we're going to identify a current ethical management problem in our work environment. We're going to assess the factors contributing to management function or dysfunction. We're going to plan and implement solutions to solve the leadership problem utilizing ethical principles, problem solving, and evaluation. And we're going to advocate for professionalism and accountability to enhance the climate and nursing practice environments. So how often at work do you witness an ethical issue? Remember, ethical issues involve more than just patient issues and end-of-life issues. It can involve the delivery of safe and competent care. It can involve witnessing a colleague diverting drugs. It can include staffing or lack of. It can include lack of collaboration between healthcare providers, resulting in not a very good patient outcome. It can be disrespectful communication, lack of informed consent, problems about triaging, and efforts around recruitment and retention of healthcare workers. And actually think about whistleblowing as well. So here's our week 2 direct study. We're going to look at and identify a current ethical management problem in the work environment. We're going to assess factors contributing to management function and dysfunction. So here's our case study. There's an ethical problem involving an impaired employee on your unit. Although the nurse manager suspects that there's a problem, the manager has decided to wait to assess the factors and evidence related to the situation. Discuss the best possible action you believe should be taken to address and resolve this problem. So again, this direct self-study will be a 2 to 3 page paper with a title page and a reference page. It should be an APA format with 3 scholarly resources. I want to mention that here in Massachusetts, we do have a substance abuse rehabilitation program. The acronym for that is SARP. And if there is a nurse with a substance use disorder, SARP is an alternative to discipline. It's a rehab program that monitors your ongoing recovery so you can return to safe nursing practice. It's a 5-year voluntary abstinence-based program. It's designed to protect public safety, public health, and welfare by establishing adequate safeguards to maintain our professional standards of nursing by monitoring that participant's ongoing recovery and the return to safe nursing practice. For our week 2 assignment, it's a case study in ethical principles. You're going to look at a case study, and in your book, it is in the marquee book. You're going to review the case studies in your text. It's chapter 4. And in my text, the learning exercises are 4.3 and 4.4. 4.3 is titled Family Values, and 4.4 is titled A Nagging Uneasiness. In some of the other editions of the text, they are the numbers aren't the same, so be sure that you use one of those titles. So choose one of the case studies and analyze it as directed. Describe the elements of professional liability, and as nurse leader, assess, plan, and implement solutions to solve the problem and evaluate the results. Advocate for professionalism and accountability to enhance the climate and nursing practice environments. There are a couple of different models that you can use for ethical decision making in your text. Okay, and as it says here, the page numbers or the learning exercise numbers might not be the same in the text that you have, so please use one of these two, family values or a nagging uneasiness. The ethical frameworks that you'll be reading about are to guide individuals in solving ethical dilemmas. They don't solve them, but they assist us in clarifying what our personal values and beliefs might be. And there's a utilitarian one, a rights-based one, a duty-based one, or an intuitionist. Some principles of ethical reasoning involve autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, paternalism, utility, justice, veracity, fidelity, and confidentiality. The American Nurses Association has a code of ethics and personal standards, and they're listed in our textbook. You can also find them on the ANA website. How many of you have read these prior to pursuing your degree? Does your facility have them available anywhere? Are they proudly displayed in a frame at nursing units, or do you see it anywhere in the entrances? And have you ever taken part in an ethical decision-making process with the aid of your facility's ethics committee? Do you know much about your ethics committee? Would you know how to ask for its services if you had to? So real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody's going to know if you did it or not. I like to talk about this book during this week of discussion, 5 Days at Memorial. It was written by Sherry Fink, and it has a lot of questions, questionable ethics, legalities. Basically, it is coverage of New Orleans Memorial Hospital right in the center of Hurricane Katrina. Power went out, air conditioning went out, doctors and nurses worked tirelessly in humid conditions without electricity. Day after day, they were all trapped in this building waiting for rescue by helicopter or boat. It was hard to get people up to the roof, patients to get up to the roof to be saved by some of these people, helicopters. And so staff, controversially, adopted a triaging system which saw those with do not resuscitate orders placed fast in the list for evacuation. What happened on the fifth and final days is clouded with a lot of ambiguity, but according to prosecutors, some of the staff decided to hasten the death of the most critical patients with lethal injections of morphine because they thought that they were going to die anyways. In part 2 of the book, it goes over the investigation against these staff members in a grand jury. And long story short, nobody was charged with any crime, but a lot of questions were raised, and it's hard for any of us to know how we would act under such terrible pressure. Just some scenes of what was going on there. This is a picture of some of the staff members and just one of the boats that was there to actually pick up patients. This is some of the nurses treating them, patients out in the open air because it was too hot in the hospital, and you can see that they've got the DNR written right on their johnnies. This was some of the bodies in the chapel. If you have a chance, it's a very interesting read. One of the other things that was in our readings this week was about emotional intelligence. I just want to reiterate that emotional intelligence usually has more to do with your job success than IQ does. People with high levels of emotional intelligence have greater career success, job performance, have better personal relations, better leadership skills, and they're generally healthier. There's a lot of places online where you can take quizzes to measure your emotional intelligence. These are generally thought to be the 5 main skills of emotional intelligence. self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skill. And then lastly, in one of our readings, chapter readings was about legality. And I just want you to ponder this question. Have you or anyone you know ever had to take part in a deposition? And then another part of our readings was advocacy. Thinking of all the times that you have advocated for a patient or a family member or a colleague or even your nursing profession. Just think about the many times that we don't even think of what we're doing. We just do it because we know that it's the right thing to do. And as always, get in touch with me if you have any questions. Email would be best. Thanks.